All right, good morning, agents. This is Kevin Lauren. I'm the Director of Training and Marketing here. And today we're going to be talking about brand building. So, our brand and our unique selling proposition, and we as agents and who we are as people, that's all part of your brand. And so, it's really, really an important topic for us to discuss a couple times a year at least. And I think you guys will enjoy it. So, before we get into today's presentation, I'm going to bring Bill Seitz, our corporate broker, on the line. Good morning, Bill. How are we doing today?
Morning, Kevin. Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday to all. And it is another scorching August day in California, but it's going to be a great day. How's your
That's
week?
right. The dog days of summer, as they say.
That's right. And what's your temp in Newport Beach this morning?
Right now it's probably in the mid 70s, but it'll get up into the 80s, which doesn't sound bad for some of you who live inland. But we do get the humidity, so that just adds a little bit of a twist to the equation.
That's a lot of a twist.
Exactly. Air conditioning is preferred if you got it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, great. Well, before we get into today's presentation, got a couple announcements and so forth, just a couple house cleaning items. First of all, just want to remind everybody that the agent loyalty program is now being recorded in your dashboard. So all you have to do is log in, agent login right here, and log into your agent dashboard. And then once you're in your dashboard, you have the ARG loyalty points tab here. So if you've been using Clearview Mortgage, if you've been using Legacy Escrow, if you've been referring agents since May, we started this, or if you've been using the Solar Reps program, you should have points accumulated. They'll be right here. That one says it has 0 because I don't have points, but if you're accumulating points, that's where you're going to be able to accumulate them. And we'll be utilizing those and redeeming those for things like paid transaction fees, flat fee buy downs, possibly even paying your MLS dues for the year, and other things like that. We will be adding things that you can redeem your points for. So this is exactly where you would keep track of those. We really will be updating those about twice a month. So if there's points that hadn't been accumulated and you think they were, you can certainly just send us a quick email and just double check. But 9 times out of 10, they're just going to get updated within about 2 weeks. So that's the way that program is going to be running. Also, this is the exact same area on the corporate website where if you choose to, you can click on subscriptions and you can upgrade your subscription to program 2 or program 3 and take advantage of the Elevate system and the social media syndication that we've got going on. It's been working out great for a lot of the agents. And so, of course, you would just, if you don't have any subscriptions, you would just click on Browse Products and you would click on Realtor Sign Up, and you would select program 2, $99 a month, or program 3, $199 a month. So that is how you do that. Just wanted to make sure everybody knows how to do that. Super simple stuff. But if you have trouble, you can, of course, contact me, 949-285-7209. So, Bill, I think we had a nice little tick in the mortgage rates, or at least in the 10-year treasury. What's going on with that?
Well, I'm happy to announce for the first time in a couple weeks, we had a nice little pullback in mortgage rates. It's not quite where we want to see it, but hey, we'll take it. Last couple of weeks, we had talked about we were hitting new benchmarks for since the last 20 years or so. And last couple of days, they have pulled back. And so we're happy about that. 10 years was trading around 4.3 a couple weeks ago, and now we're down to 4.1, just above the 4% mark. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this is going to, evolve here over the next, even just the rest of the week, to be honest. There is some weakness in the economy. And so those are the reasons that the pundits are stating there is a pullback there in the treasury world. And so, but obviously we have a lot of buyers out there that are right on the cusp that, every little eighth of a point, quarter of a point means everything. And so I am happy to say we are working with a couple clients. This is good news. And if you're on that bubble, you might want to consider locking the loans or getting that secured in place, because obviously we have no guarantees what tomorrow is going to be. But I am pretty excited to see this pull back about 20 basis points off of the last couple of weeks.
And Bill, wouldn't that be a reason to contact your clients and maybe give them that info?
100%. 100%. If you're on the ball, that's why we share this information. We don't do it just for giggles. We really stay on this top of this stuff. So I can go down the street and have a conversation with somebody about finance, and talk about this kind of stuff, very easily. And we hope that you can too, because it's important to know this stuff. It's really important. We preach and we talk about it a lot, but we do it so you guys can carry this information away from this short webinar. You guys are, got your, you're loaded with your information, and off you go.
Exactly. So, after you receive information like that, the immediate next step is to make a social media post about it. Call your top tier clients on the phone with an actual phone call and let them know that just happened. That's how you provide value. That's how you set yourself up away from a realtor that just kind of, as we're going to talk about in a little bit, that just chases business. You're creating business, and that's the realtor you want to be. Anything else on that, Bill?
No, I just know Debbie's going to pop on here, just give a couple quick solutions to stuff that she's been doing. Obviously we have to be creative in these environments with higher interest rate environment. And so, and Debbie is a top producer in her field. And so, it's interesting to see how she's evolved into doing other niche products, which means she's adapting, she's evolving, and she's got some solutions that she's going to share here momentarily, which is great.
Well, Debbie, good morning. Can you hear us?
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Goodness. It's so funny. Some of my peers that are loan officers, they've reached out to me and said, and asked, "Oh God, how are you doing? Are you busy at all? I'm really slow." And I am slammed. And back in the day, a couple years ago, we were getting business like through the woodwork of for the refis, and that they were all, of course, stellar good loans, and we love those. We love 700 plus credit scores, larger down payments. We love to do those those kinds of loans, of course. And but sometimes it doesn't happen that way. And sometimes my pipeline is filled with, which I just actually closed 5 loans that were all like A paper loans. And those are absolutely perfect. We love those. But now what I have in my pipeline are loans that needed an alternative solution. I do have a couple of hard money loans in my pipeline, and one particular example I wanted to talk about, it's a realtor friend of mine wanted to purchase a home. Of course, his tax returns did not show enough income. So we tried the bank statement program. And the way they calculate income from that, it didn't work out. So then we tried the P&L statement program. That actually could be an option, and even a better option, because he receives 1099s. We're actually going to do a 1099 program on him. So there are multiple options that we can present to people to help your people get loans. I just had a call yesterday. And this particular man would not qualify for really any loan right now, but he had his buddy who's going to stand in and qualify for him. So, there's like so many different solutions, but that's the thing. We're a mortgage broker. We have almost every solution to almost every situation. So if you have I mean, of course, we love the easy ones. I love to just, close a deal in 2 weeks. That's super easy, which we do all the time. But if you're getting stuck, give me a call and let's see if we could find an alternative solution. Of course, somebody that has a credit score maybe below 700 or even below 600 and doesn't have any money, it's hard to help those kind of people, because they either have to have a ton of money if they have a lower credit score, or have a higher credit score if they have no money or a lower type of down payment. And it does pay, to ask them some questions, see what they have to work with. Ask them if they've ever gone online to check their credit scores. I think I talked about this last week. Ask them, hey, do you have any monies that you're working with? Gift money from a parent, 401k money they can borrow from. There's all kinds of alternative solutions. So anyway, you guys have a wonderful week, and I hope you're successful out there. And I hope you, get lots of deals in, and give me a call.
Love it, Debbie. I put your contact information in the chat. And so make sure everybody knows how to get a hold of you. And we do appreciate your updates.
Thank you so much. Have a great week.
Okay, bye-bye. Bill, we sent out yesterday a broker tip. Do you want to briefly go over that?
Yeah, so what we've done is we're starting to, on Tuesdays, it's your broker tip Tuesday, kind of add that little T&T tip for Tuesday. But we want to address some of these common things that come up, things that we can also discuss in the webinar and the training. And I believe last week we talked about, or I actually don't remember if we even talked about it, but I'll mention it here, is we talked about, when does agency end? So at what point does your relationship and your loyalty and your obligation to work with a client end? Well, that's at the termination of the transaction. However, there are exceptions. So, for example, if you close a transaction, escrow is closed, you go to hand over the possession with the keys, and the seller has left a bunch of stuff, right? A bunch of stuff that shouldn't be in the house. They've left your buyer with a bunch of trash, things that shouldn't be in the property, that your client's unhappy. They're like, this is not what I was anticipating.
But that never happens though, right, Bill?
Well, it's you're in the game long enough. It happens to every single one of us. And then they're reaching in our pockets for, to take care of it. So yeah, that does happen a lot. And there is a form for that. I don't have the acronym off my, just off the cusp here, but that is a good thing to remember, is that when does your relationship with that client, according to CAR, when does that end? And it is at the close of escrow. So once you've delivered keys and you've gotten confirmations recorded with the county, that is under their definition, that is the termination of the relationship. So and then like I said, if in case there's something that happened, like leaving items, things that are there, then that's where there are exceptions. Another thing we wanted to talk about this week was, what are you required to use your license number, the brokerage's name, on what kind of things. And I think especially nowadays, and Kevin, you'll probably be able to talk about this as well, is social media. Now that social media is a big portion of advertising, I think a lot of people don't realize that you need to have your name, your license number, and the brokerage that you work for on all social media if you are advertising in that medium. And so it's super important for everybody to realize that, because that's an easy place too for you to get kind of called out for not doing that, especially people that know you are operating in the real estate capacity. We have, I don't know if you've got the link, Kevin, but we'll put it at least in the replay. I've kind of put up the most recent advertising rules. And it's just good to remember, what types of advertising does this apply to? Pretty much everything: business cards, stationery, advertising flyers, advertisements, television, print, electronic media, including social media, of course, open house signs. There are some, there is some leeway with the directional signs if they're not branded. So if they're just like, arrow or a generic open house, they don't have to be, you don't have the license numbers and the brokerage numbers and stuff like that. So there is some leniency there. But basically any type of advertising that you're looking to solicit business from, introduce yourself, it needs to have your 8-digit license number, and it needs to have your name and the brokerage's name. So I think we've had a few instances, over the last couple of years where agents aren't doing this, and it's important that you always remember this. I think social media is probably the biggest area now moving forward, that people aren't doing this. So it's just kind of a reminder, to do that. I don't know if you have any input on that, Kevin, of what you're seeing since you're doing marketing constantly with these agents.
Oh yeah, for sure. So with respect, first of all, I did put the this quick guide up, and I put it in the chat. So please do click on it, open it up in your browser. And then I always, for important stuff like this, I star that, and I make sure that it's part of my favorites, right? We had a webinar about all that kind of stuff, organizational stuff, a few weeks ago. So make sure that you do that, you have that. But yeah, with respect to social media, I get a question all the time. Do I have to have my DRE number on every post? And no, you do not. But see how in our ARG Instagram profile, we have it in our profile. And that's really all you'll need. But you do need to be consistent. So you'll need that in your profile on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on all your different profiles. So with respect to, social media, it needs to be on the profile. It doesn't have to be on every post. So
perfect. Thanks for that, Kevin.
Yeah.
And that's
yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, so just, we're going to start bringing in tidbits of compliance, tidbits of helpful information. Keep an eye out. You'll start seeing those on Tuesdays. On Mondays, we're sending out a motivational quote for the week. I think we doubled up on the 2 weeks. That was probably just a
I forgot to hit save.
Yeah, so we won't have the same one next Monday, but I think it's a great way to start the week. Have a little motivation, and then a broker tip for Tuesday. We can have a little quick discussion here on the webinar. It's always good to keep sharpening our tools, refining our craft, and being aware of what's happening in the worlds that we work in.
For sure. So let's get into our brand building webinar today. So we're going to go over 7 different aspects or 7 secrets for building your personal brand. So as I kind of alluded to, average agents chase business and top agents attract business. So we always want to be in this attraction phase. And there's a lot of different ways that we can do that. Namely, and just in general, being in the community and not being a secret agent. So you'll notice that the top agents are out there. They're putting themselves out there. They're in, groups. They're in, discussions. They're, part of charities. They're, part of the kids' soccer, and they're the schools, and they're out there. They're not hiding in their basement. So, that's just the overall for building your brand and building, making sure people that are around you know your brand, know your personality, know what you offer. So step 1 is, and I think that agents don't do this very often. Step 1 is identify your ideal client. And when you're first starting out, you're like, I don't care. I'll work with anybody, right? But once you start doing the business for 3, 4, 5, 7, 10, 20 years, you know the kinds of people that you want to deal with. And if you can identify that, that leads you to attract those kinds of clients. Okay. So, before you begin the process of building the brand, identify these people. So who do I ideally serve? Who's my ideal, income level? There's a lot of, different things that you can identify from your clients as that's the style of client I want to work with. And then, of course, we're going to be doing the marketing towards those clients, right? So, you know, and some agents know that they don't work with, you know, buyers very often. We're only working with sellers. Some agents, you know, are experts with first-time buyers. Some agents are, you know, very, very adept to working with military and knowing the VA loans in and out and things like that. So identifying who you can best serve will allow you to position yourself in a position you're marketing to attract those clients. So step 2 would be developing your unique selling proposition geared towards that style client that you have identified as being your target client. So this is much more targeted style marketing. You're not, you know, just shooting from the hip and shotgun blast. You're laser identifying who you will ideally help the most. So the unique selling proposition is typically broken into 3 areas. And these areas are probably something like this: information provided, services provided, or a systematic plan to achieve the client's goal. So here's a couple different, you know, examples and ways to differentiate yourself from others. Produce information, content addressing the biggest pain points or questions from that ideal client. If it's a military person, you know that the questions that typically come up, you know the pain points for that specific client, right? Number 2, create a concierge plan for buyers or sellers that share the additional services that they can expect when they work with you. So for instance, like a military client, you identify, I work with, you know, veterans. I work with military people. I understand the military, right? I speak the lingo. I am from that world, right? So, you know, whatever, you know, it happens to be for you, your personal brand must clearly communicate what it is that you do different from a different agent. So I know that's pretty broad, but it absolutely, when you start thinking about these things, it helps crystallize what you're going to be offering. And that in turn is translated to the marketing that you create to tell that. And so that leads us to step 3, where you craft your compelling brand story, right? And so everybody likes a story. And if you can create a captivating story about who you are and what you do, that will lead the people that are most likely your ideal client to come and find you. You're attracting them, right? This is backwards now. We're trying to attract the clients to us. So here's a couple of examples. So like, I help first-time home buyers purchase their first home so they can achieve the American dream of home ownership, changing the trajectory of their family's finances over their lifetime, right? Or I help real estate investors locate and purchase quality investment properties so they can build a portfolio of properties that will produce massive income and give them financial freedom. I know Keith Powers is with us, and he does a lot of, you know, investment properties, and he's an expert at that. And so what do you think his marketing talks about? He's not talking about, oh, I help first-time home buyers. No, he is talking about what he offers specifically, and he does a very good job of that. And it's very clear through his marketing what he does and what he specializes in. And he and Anda are a team. So not discounting Anda, she is right there, and she's an all-star. So another one is, like I was saying earlier, I help military buyers and sellers sell homes when they're moving. You know, I understand the movement of military. I've been part of it. I'm a military family person. So I understand what those pains are, what the pain points are for a military buyer or seller versus an investor versus a first-time home buyer. So I hope that kind of clarifies, crafting your compelling brand story, right? Number 4 would be identify where your ideal clients spend their time, right? So if and this goes back to, social media? Do they, read the newspaper? Where do they spend their time? What do they do, right? So in order to attract your ideal clients, you must position yourself and your marketing to where they are. Again, this is where, being very specific about who your ideal client is will help you identify where they are. So for instance, if your ideal, client is a first-time home buyer, according to NAR, the typical age of a first-time home buyer is, about 36 years old. So based on this information, we might be able to assume that they will be active in school activities with their children, right? Based on their age, the prominent social media app they utilize is likely Instagram. Holy smokes. So yes, we're going to gear our marketing, and we're going to be spending money on marketing on Instagram because we believe that our target client hangs out there, right? They're on Instagram statistically. So whoever your ideal client is, a Google search about the activities that they participate in or predominant social media usage for that demographic could help you position yourself in the best way. And we're also starting to use AI and ChatGPT, and you can ask ChatGPT where those people are. So it's a lot of new, as all this technology develops, there's a lot of new ways to utilize them and to help us identify where our clients spend their time, right? Number 5 would be establish a constant visual identity. And this is something we talk about ad nauseum. We always talk about having your omnipresence, which is you're all over the place. You're on social media. You're, the people in your farm are getting a quarterly mailer. They're getting, they're seeing your signs out. They're seeing, your client appreciation parties at the local, pizza place. You're everywhere, right? And establishing that constant visual identity, and again, being in the marketplace or, being out there. Those are the things that help you, help other people see, oh, I see that person's brand. I see that person's, characteristics. I see their, everything about them, right? And so that is your brand, right? And so the next phase of that is making sure that that is always consistent, right? Step 6, consistency. Create valuable and consistent content. And so you want, not everything to look exactly the same, right? But you want to have a consistent tone that conveys your brand. You want to use the same color schemes. You want to use the same font schemes. You want to use the same feel and look. So your client gets that consistent view of what your brand is. And you want to keep it very, very consistent, right? And then, of course, our Elevate platform is helping us create constant social media that comes from our blog and goes out to our 6 most important social media accounts. So that is something that will help us create that consistency. It's not everything, because again, we also need to be doing stuff that's outside the realm of digital media. We want to make sure that we're sending, if it's applicable and you're working a farm, you're sending out mailers, you're walking the neighborhood and putting door hangers on, giving small presents, doing whatever it is to be consistent and to be repeatable, and you're, out in front of your clients, right? So next question is, how often should we be posting? According to Hootsuite, these are the ideal numbers for each platform. So Instagram, post between 3 and 5 times per week. Instagram stories, post 2 times per day. Those are like, there's like crack, right? Facebook, post between 1 and 2 times per day. And TikTok, post between 3 and 5 times per week. LinkedIn, post 1 or 2 times per day. And Google Business Profile, post at least once per week. So those are, again, just suggestions, and based on their research, that seems to be the most effective for a realtor brand, right? And then step 7, our last one, is engage and nurture the prospects of your brand, that your brand attracts. So the first 6 will attract people, But then once you've attracted them, then you have to engage them. You have to nurture them. You have to make sure that they're, staying within staying within the fold there. So engagement involves responding to every comment made on your social media. That's a daunting task. And that's why a lot of successful realtors build teams, and they have a team member that does that. Or they have, an assistant. There are also virtual assistants that can do things like that for you for very inexpensive. But the bottom line is there is an engagement. There is, you're not just, somebody's not just, asking questions and they don't get anything back. That is not as good. So making sure that you are engaging with those people you attract, super important. And so, along those lines comes follow-ups, putting those people into your CRMs. So a lot of these follow-ups and touches are automated. Those are the things that once you have attracted someone, that keeps them within your circle, and it's up to you to maintain that relationship. And it's really easy to let these people fall off the wagon. And if you don't have any automated systems, then you're way below, or you're way behind the curve. So, obviously some of these things are not going to be automated. You do have to pick up the phone. You do have to make, the text messages, and you have to, be engaging, but we have to also use technology to digitize and to automate a lot of those. So Bill, I know we went through a lot in a short period of time, but any quick takeaways from today's branding webinar?
We covered a lot of territory today, Kevin, but that's good. That's an efficient use of time. All that stuff's really important. Getting quality information out, I think, is a big one for me, because if you're not sending out things that are of value, people aren't going to find you of value, right?
Right.
And I think we had talked about the Elevate system, and just the opportunity to do marketing through the text messaging system. That's another really good way to, hit all your clients and start building your brand via market news, helpful things, stuff that people find of value, and so easy, so quick to do. And using technology in that capacity is just going to really get you in front of more eyes.
And then, just like we were saying earlier in the webinar, this market update information. Hey, rates just went down. Like, that's the perfect thing that's the perfect information that's powerful and meaningful to send out and to help engage the prospects, right?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if I'm on somebody's list for marketing and I had gotten that, that's just something that I would be happy to know about. Even if I'm not even in the market for a house today, that's just something that I personally would be happy to learn about, or just know, oh, cool, interest rates have dropped today, or, the market has gotten a little bit better for that, for that piece of real estate. So, it's something to consider if you're not doing it already, or to implement into your overall marketing strategy. These are real simple things to get into your routine. I mean, there's really not a ton here where, like, are heavy lifts. They're very simple once you implement them.
Exactly. So agents, that is the bulk of our presentation today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I hope you really do use this information in your business, and use these tidbits to grow your business, and to attract clients, and to attract others, and to grow your business and be successful. So with that, get out there, make it a great week, a productive week, and we are excited to see you all on the webinar next week. Have a nice one. Bye-bye.